Hey, my name is Warren, and before we get into the actual review, I just want to clarify something to all of you. I'm just gonna come out here on YouTube and say it right in front of you guys. I do not use AI. Someone in the comments, I'm not gonna name any names, told me that my thumbnail was created by using AI. Here is the thumbnail in person. This is an example of a thumbnail that I used in my Ratchet review. Links in the description. That is not AI. That is not something I would use for my content. You want to know what I actually use? This is what you call Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop is an artwork making platform, obviously, if you couldn't tell by the logo. And what it basically does, if you're creating like a thumbnail, for example, you basically take any image you can find on Google, put it right into the center of your little thumbnail, and then go crazy. And if you look at my Ratchet figure, for example, if you look over where the layer panel's on, you can see all the stuff that I added onto my thumbnail to make it look more unique, I would say. And if you guys still don't believe me, here, I can click on one of them for an example, go to the layers profile, and there. This is what I do here. None of that fake AI bullshit. And the same could be said for my videos. I do not use AI for my videos at all. I use a little video making tool called Adobe Premiere, which is where I make all of my videos. Well, okay, that might not be true. I did use WeVideo at one point, and then shortly used CapCut for my videos. But after that, I was fully committed in Premiere Pro. So there you go. I just want to clarify to all of you that I do not use AI for my content and don't plan to do that in the future. I am not an AI generated lover, okay? I hate AI generated things. I myself am a talented filmmaker and video editor and thumbnail creator, and I solely use the Adobe Suite for all of the stuff that I do here, whether it be creating thumbnails on Photoshop, making videos on Premiere Pro, or even my own spanking new logo in After Effects. I use the Adobe Suite because this is what I feel like using. And if you're a content creator and wanting to make your first video, I would highly recommend you use the Adobe Suite because it'll help you out in the long run, and true artists like us need more love than AI would ever will. So, now that that's out of the way, here is the new video that I'm bringing to you right now. Also, I didn't have enough time to come up with a good intro, so here is a short video of monkeys going around in circles. Here you go. Alright, I'm done. When we last saw our fabled leader of the Decepticons, he and his second-in-command Starscream fled after the Fallen's inevitable demise. During the course of their travel, he and his trusty Decepticons wanted to build a weapon to wipe out the Autobot resistance once and for all, and so he sent Shockwave to do so. But, upon testing it, it turned Megatron into something that is considered to be the most horrifying thing in any Decepticon life, becoming a highly detailed, anatomically accurate figure. All jokes aside, this Megatron figure comes to us from the Studio Series line, which in itself is a line consists of making figures that are in the movieverse continuity. And I already had this kind of discussion during the production of my Ratchet review. As a matter of fact, if you want to know more about the Studio Series line, you can check out that video. But seeing how hard it is to get people to actually watch my videos, thanks YouTube, I might as well summarize. Transformers Studio Series is a line of figures that aims to make screen-accurate versions of the characters that we've seen previously in other toy lines, and I've done videos on these guys before, so if you wanted to check that out, you can check that out. And this Megatron figure came out in the same year as Wave 1 did, same year as Studio Series Ratchet. In fact, let me tell you, this figure is worth it. God damn it, scalpers. Out of the box, this guy is packaged in his robot mode, but I'm gonna be covering the tank mode first because I want to. Shut up. The sculpting on this guy is really awesome, but the painting... While it might not be obvious at first glance, it is there. As a matter of fact, all the shiny bronze that you see are cleanly painted on. Same can be said with some of the metallic dark gray parts and the nice shiny silver that are also on part of the treads, which is really nice and pretty. It's just too bad they could have continued that aesthetic with the rest of the figure. Like the whole figure that isn't painted, it's just one big gray plastic. I know it's supposed to make it look like he's shiny, but in that context, he looks badass and hard edge. This figure doesn't really capture that. And this is where the battle damage repaint of this figure kind of stands out for me, because that has something that the other one is missing. But other than that, this guy is pretty accurate to how he looks in the movie, and he's free of kibble, except when you look underneath the bottom and right in the center of the tank. But honestly, it doesn't really bother me as much because this is intentional and completely movie accurate. Yes, I know it's creepy, but that's what you come to expect with Cybertronian alt modes like this one, where unlike Earth vehicle modes where you can basically transform into like a car or a jet, Cybertronian alt modes have the habit to transform into whatever the hell they can think of. Just transform into something that doesn't make sense and you're fine. And for Megatron specifically, I could give his alt mode a pass because it actually reads as a tank. I mean, the silhouette is there, he's got the iconic tank treads, and includes the turret with two little mini cannons, which in itself are on an individual swivel joint, which is moved up and down, which is amazing. Now that that's done, let's get right into the accessories. There are no accessories. But honestly, I can't be too mad with Megatron. I mean, he didn't really have all that much to do in the movie anyways. All I know about what he did in Revenge of the Fallen is that he killed Optimus Prime in a forest battle, which is one of my favorite scenes ever, despite the fact he killed Optimus Prime and standing there on top of a pyramid right next to the Fallen menacingly. So, you know, could have been better. As for posability on this guy, well, he has that previously mentioned individual cannons, and while the treads don't move, he does have these little plastic wheels that allows him to roll, and that's pretty much it for tank mode. And I gotta say, this is one sizable tank. Here's Hunt for the Decepticons Jet Blades, Studio Series Battle Trap, my previous review, the Dark of the Moon Ratchet, well, technically it was a remake, but still, and my previous Revenge of the Fallen review, Soundwave. Though the tank mode looks good, with the obvious exception, but his robot mode is
a bit special.
And here we have Megatron in his robot mode, and oh my god, he looks so good! Not only that, the transformation on this guy was really clever. It's simple, but satisfying. And the same shiny bronze that we saw in the tank mode is completely carried over on the chest in the robot mode, which the same courtesy was extended to the silver. When I said this guy was lacking in certain parts, I mean it. Jesus, this is so plain. Why couldn't they just use an airbrush to spray silver all over the body? I mean, they did it with the bronze. Why not the silver? Like, seriously, he's just so plain looking. Like, what the fuck? Like, I get that lack of paint encourages people like me to actually play with the toys and you don't have to worry about paint chipping, but this is ridiculous! But other than the lack of paint this guy has, the robot itself is really nice. Even though they were kind of flirting with the Megatron design being faithful to the original G1 design, even though none of the designs up until the last night have a fusion cannon, and if you wanted to know more about the differences between the Megatrons, watch the films. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Christ. But yeah, second only to the last night Megatron, this has got to be my favorite Megatron figure. You know, despite the toes wanting to go back in and the gap in the side. Don't get me wrong, this makes the back of the Megatron figure look clean as he did in the movie, but there just had to be a better solution than that. Which just means that this Megatron figure only looks good from a few select angles, which may explain why MP45 Bumblebee looks the way it does. And I can totally see the problem. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but come on, we were this close to perfection. This close. So despite all the flaws that I already pointed out, I could give it all a pass considering the fact that he pulls off the movie design pretty well. And at this point I would have talked about accessories if it had any, but you can still deploy the little mini cannons that he has in tank mode, and he's got the badass looking fusion cannon that I ever seen. But that's not all. You can even deploy his little knife when he's in the forest battle and he's like tapping Optimus Prime to the desk and then blasting him with it. Did they intend on making an R-rated movie with this guy? Overall, this figure is a waste. Ball joint at the head, can look up that far and look down that far. Rotation at the arm moves out and is on a very strange bicep swivel. Bend at the elbow, fingers are on individual swivel joints. His right arm has the same amount of articulation plus that little hinge joint at the thumb. No waist swivel because obvious reason. Rotation at the leg, can't move back that far. Beautiful spread, thigh swivel. Bend at the knee. I don't know how I feel about this knee design. A pivot at the ankle, that is the ankle, right? And the toes can spread. Posability on this guy is pretty good, but it's also kind of weird at the same time because, well, you know. And you're really limited to what you can do because he's so weird. But if you had some kind of figure stand lying around, you could get some aerial poses. Fuck! And the size of this guy is pretty tall. Jet blade, battle trap, ratchet, sound wave. Shit! And these two look good together, but they would look really better if I had the Studio Series version. Fuck. A lot of the criticism I have were just minor nitpicks, but I really like this guy. And I would only recommend this if you're a Studio Series collector like I am, or if you're just a fan of Megatron in general. And if you want one for yourself, why don't you get it at the Big Bad? Oh no. Why this figure is even more rare than like Optimus Prime is beyond me. But if you want it, you want it, right? For a mold that's almost a decade old, this figure has been well loved over time. I mean, if it weren't, Takara would have never resold it, repainted, or retooled it. And that's kind of a shame, because I would rather have an updated version of this guy. I mean, see how we're getting new updated versions of Transformers cast? Imagine the possibility of what Takara would do if they went back and redid this design to make it more better than it already is. But what's really weird is how we got a remold version of Shockwave that is a reissue and not frickin' Ironhide. God damn it! Next video, we are finally gonna be taking a look at what you thought. Let's keep this ROTF train chugging.